Holy perpetual penny pinchers, Batman! Tiki here on a journey through Batman the Animated Series, watching it for the very first time. And my golly, my gee, after a string of mediocre episodes, we've come upon something truly great. Could it be my new favorite episode? Only my companion Dragon can answer that question.
You see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham, in a way.
And tonight we're covering Almost Got 'Em. Dragon, I'm gonna ask you a very simple question, my friend. Would you say that out of all the stuff we've covered so far, this is pretty handily the best episode yet?
We gotta remember, Heart of Ice and Perchance the Dream are also factored in there. So we have three very strong contenders, but this is absolutely, this is definitely the plus. Take trust me, this is one of a top five or no question, possibly even a top three. Or let's be honest, a lot of people would put this at the number one spot for their favorite episodes. I mean, much as I love this one, I don't think I'd be that one because there are a number of ones we haven't gotten to yet that could also quantify as a favorite. Because for me, nothing's going to beat Laughing Fish in my heart. So Laughing Fish is always going to be my favorite episode. But still, though, this is absolutely like one of the all-time greats, no question.
The hype is real for this, folks. I don't know what to tell you. This isn't one of those times where Tiki's going to come on and be like, "Oh, I don't know, Dragon. I could poke out some flaws." No, this is like it's perfectly crafted. The stories are all just as long as they need to be. They're all really interesting. They all kind of like escalate, and of course the twist at the end. It's like a chef's kiss, Dragon. It's like a mwah, mwah.
It is. That it is.
All right, background, sir. Hit me.
Okay, so the background is really juicy on this. I'm going to try to keep it just the good parts. Okay, so this was directed by Eric Radomski, of course, the co-creator of the series with Bruce Timm. Kind of the man responsible for the backgrounds that we have on the series as well. The famous black paper design. Of course, he co-directed Mask of the Phantasm. Is like another. Basically, Eric Radomski doesn't do a lot of directing, but when he directs, it's a big deal because he did Phantasm. And if you're so smart, why aren't you rich? The introduction of the Riddler is a pretty big deal, and this one. Of course, writer, big name on the writer as well. Paul Dini, the great Paul Dini, as you can imagine by an episode this great. Again, the man who produced the Heart of Ices of the bunch of your Joker's favorite.
Paul Dini is like definitely in the Mount Rushmore of animated series writers, I would say.
Honestly, one of my all-time favorite writers too. I mean, just period. Honestly, Dini's just one of the best. Man, he's just Dini. Can never go wrong with Dini. Of course, Joker's favorite, Heart of Ice. Plus, there's ones we haven't even gotten to yet, but almost got them.
And of course, on the comic side of things, Dark Knight, a true Batman story.
I know that one as well, but oh boy. The point being, Dini had worked on this one, and the studio was Dong Yang, kind of the basically when Spectrum, I believe at this point Spectrum wasn't even around anymore, if I recall correctly. But
right,
that's what I'm saying. Basically, when Spectrum was unavailable or doing Phantasm, as possibly, I gotta tell you, it just kind of dawned on me in the moment here. I wonder if Phantasm was the last thing Spectrum did. I wonder, but
possibly.
Point being, when Spectrum is away, Dong Yang will play, and Dong Yang they do great work. So, of course, the top examples again from the other echelon of episodes: Perchance the Dream and Joker's Favor. Again, Dong Yang at their best, and here yet another Dong. This is one of Dong Yang's finest episodes. Also, Two-Face Part 2. That's a good one. All right. So the origin of this one, so Paul Dini had a conversation with Alan Burnett, essentially the godfather of all of animated Batman. So Alan Burnett. Of course, Alan Burnett from Dark Knight, true Batman story, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Point being, Dini has a conversation with Alan Burnett, as he had with many a time, and basically they had a conversation about an episode premise of like, what if we had an episode where Batman was discussed, and we didn't reveal but at the end of the episode we reveal he's been there the whole time. That's where the whole thing started. Like we knew what kind of the ending was with it. So okay, that's your premise. None of the poker game or anything was there at the start. So that kind of evolves into, okay, what if the villains were logically? What would villains be doing to get them all together in the same place? Well, they'd be lying low, and maybe it's like kind of a poker night of some kind for them while they're all lying low at the same place. And Eric Radomski was really drawn to the idea of like this breaking the 3-act structure that they had done so well up to this point in the animated series. Like, we always do the 3-act structure, we do it fairly well, and I mean, again, you look like a Heart of Ice, beautiful 3-act structure. You keep the point being 3-act structure. We've kind of done to death, artfully, mind you. We've done to death. Let's shake things up with vignettes. So not only did they do vignettes in this episode with kind of the various almost goddamn stories, but they actually, as I mentioned before, with writing as well as the artist, you had kind of a freelance thing going on here. So they brought in a few freelance board artists on this episode to take sections of episode, basically take these differing, these different vignettes, and I'll shout out a few of them as we go along. It's kind of like they basically brought in newcomers on this one, and they did an excellent job. It kind of adds to why this episode looks, in certain segments, man, just the story in terms of its boarding as well as how it complements the animation. It's one of the reasons it's sublime. Last little fun fact, and we'll get right into it, because I know you're biting at the heels to get into this one. I can sense it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Last one. This is a really awesome fun fact. So, of course, famously, Batman the Animated Series, unlike a lot of animated shows, they recorded together like radio plays, where basically they would all sit in the same room, which is very unheard of these days. Especially go by the big studio pieces. So, especially an episode like this one, where it's going to be multiple villains, they all, like all the villains, as they're sitting around a table, they're all in the same room together. They even dressed up for the occasion, because afterwards they took a cast photo.
Oh man, that's nice.
Like, you have like Mark Hamill, Paul Williams, Aaron Kincaid, Richard Mall, Diane Pershing. I think Kevin Conroy was there as well, and like basically even Arlene Sorkin. Basically everybody but
Dragon. What I want to know, does Kevin Conroy voice Killer Croc?
No, he doesn't.
All right.
But you believe it, though, right? You believe it.
You do.
That's what's awesome about it. That's like the mystery. But again, you kind of believe it, though.
Right. God.
Anyway.
All right. Yeah, this is fantastic. Can't wait to get into it, Dragon. Let's start, right?
Okay, so of course, just with the title card itself, I just want to shout out the score here, because ordinarily we just would say Shirley Walker. It's all umbrella with Shirley Walker, but just to give credit where credit's due, Stuart Balcombe did the score, did like kind of that great kind of jazzy score, the big band jazzy score for the whole episode. That was Stuart Balcombe, did an excellent job.
Mm.
Anyway, so we start with the reveal, all the hand reveals, man. Scott Derrickson's drooling somewhere. Look at all these hand reveals, man. They're all around a table. They're all having a conversation, basically at a poker game, and we're introducing them. Basically, I love you can identify them by their hands and by their voices alone. You know who these characters are. We get really creative with like the visual reveals of these characters. We have Joker saying, "Okay," as he's shuffling the cards. "Okay, gentlemen, I want a nice clean game." And Penguin mentions like, "Oh, we're gonna do that for a change."
And again, just sublime writing. I love that. That's the first line.
Of course, Penguin then basically begins kind of the small talk here. It's mentioning that, you know who nabbed the Mad. I heard you know who nabbed the Mad Hatter last week, which leads to kind of some speculation as to like how does he sure gets around, doesn't he? This is awesome dialogue here with the Two-Face. Just he thinks I love Two-Face's story.
Killer Croc is saying this.
Well, no, oh yeah, you're right about that. Like, well, I'm saying like he's saying like how does he. It gets
Killer Croc's line is, "No kidding, he sure gets around for one guy."
Well, yes, but then Two-Face has the response after that, where Two-Face has a theory as to how. Two-Face thinks Gordon. I love this logic. Two-Face thinks that Jim Gordon has a SWAT team of Batmen at the ready, that he keeps hidden away somewhere to kind of be. That's how Batman can be in so many places at one time, and that's you have all these interactions with Batman. And then Penguin speculates even deeper than that. Penguin speculates the origin of Batman. He gets kind of close, but then he's
close. Yeah, he gets the closest out of all of them.
Penguin
he had some sort of crime-related trauma when he was younger. Perhaps an over-anxious mugger blew off a piece of his face.
Now, this is going to be important with the Penguin for the next episode. So, of course, Paul Williams, we're going to shout him out here. I think this episode and the next episode are kind of the best representations of the Penguin in the animated series. Paul Williams doing his best on the character. And what's great about this is even in that little line, you have a little bit of like, you have the civil, soothing, kind of erudite delivery of Paul Williams. But again, saying some gruesome things like perhaps a mugger blew off a piece of his face when he was a boy. That's the Penguin. That's their take. That's their kind of their more aristocratic take on a Danny DeVito Penguin. What if he was less like eating fish, but more like graphically biting people's noses and everything? What if he would just kind of work that into the dialogue and just like he thought he was a sophisticate, but he was just a little bit again, he's a criminal, but he's a sophisticated at the same time. Anyway, so we have these visual gags.
All this mention of the deformed faces, kind of a little offensive to Two-Face.
Joker saying, "Oh yeah, it must be gross and disfigured under that face." And of course, we have some great visual gags. What's great about this is why this is happening. So Penguin's like mixing his tea, and I'm sure Howard Hamlin got a kick out of that. Where, Penguin's like squirting some lemon.
You know that Howard Hamlin is somewhere in the background this whole episode, just chilling with the GCPD somewhere.
They need lawyers there, sure, why not?
Exactly.
Anyway, they witness the affair. Anyway, seriously, so Penguin is Penguin's like he's mixing his tea, which again, while he's talking about blowing people's faces off. Meanwhile, we have Two-Face with the half and half milk carton that he crushes as he pours it into his he pours it into his coffee, and again, like the visual thing that as he crushes it, spurts on Joker. No offense, Hug, just deal. And of course, they're all getting ready, and then Killer Croc has it. What's Killer Croc's theory?
Shoot, I'm sorry, I don't have it in my notes. My bad.
Well, you know what I think, and Joker interjects with, "Oh, not the robot theory again." Well,
the robot theory.
This actually has a payoff. This is funny. There's actually kind of a payoff to this in one of my nostalgic favorite episodes. Not a truly great episode, but one of my favorites as a kid. Once we get into season 3, a little bit of a payoff to that line. Anyway, so as Croc gets a bit here, then Ivy enters. We have this great game with the music, the big banner. Oh man,
this is like a great film noir style entrance, man. It's classic.
I will go as far
the shadows.
I'll go as far as to say this episode complements the look and the style of Batman the Animated Series the best out of any of the episodes in the whole series. I'll go as far.
I will say so. I will show people this episode and be like, "This is what animated series is."
Yes, this is like the kind of the film noir, kind of the 1930s setting. This episode, this is it. This is kind of the tone of the show. Anyway, so Ivy enters. I love the coat and everything, very femme fatale. 40s-esque, someone get me an herbal tea and deal me in. So Croc, very interesting considering what we're going to learn about Croc by the end of things here. Croc is trying to turn Ivy away. It's like, hey, this is a private party. You should get out of here. And anyway, so she just sweeps the chair. Croc lands her chin on the table. And he's on the ground. She kicks him while he's in. Why are you? He's like, Croc's getting the crap kicked out from here. Which, again, is really funny when you realize who that is.
Oh, yeah.
So, by the way, this is the first scene. So, as she sits down, she's chatting up Two-Face. And fascinating thing, this is the first scene she's ever shared with Harvey Dent since Pretty Poison, which we introduced Harvey Dent. Well, we've introduced him even further back. Now, the point being, big Harvey Dent episode. And a reunion between the ex-lovers.
Oh, God.
But again, just some great
still looking halfway decent.
Poison Ivy. Half of me wants to strangle you.
What does the other half want?
To hit you with a truck. And I love the angle on this, too. We see both sides of the face, like the one half, and we see the other half wants to hit her with the truck. And, of course, Ivy turns to the rest and says, "We used to date." And then we have this, and he's like, Joker and Penguin, they get it. So, the background. So, we mentioned...
Penguin's like, what brings such a... Sorry?
No, please, go on. You're go on.
Yeah, Penguin's like, what brings such a dainty dove to this dismal den?
Where they're hiding out from Batman, we all go around them and says, "Ah, yes, likewise." And of course, we cut to I love how we cut to an insert of the mouths, and again, you can identify everybody by not the full face, but just the smile and all the features. I love that. So
I also love really how we have the shadow figures in the background, kind of looming over them, and of course, that's going to lead into the reveal.
Now, I'm so glad you brought it, because that's what I was about to get to. So this is a huge nod to the Fleischer Superman, where you have the backgrounds are very expressionistic. Sure. Where basically we bleed into the backgrounds, kind of the black paper style of Batman. Again, another really great representation of the series, where we kind of bleed everything into the background. Also, we have Croc and Silhouette just throwing a drunkard to another table as he steals his chair. Which again, knowing what we know, is even funnier. Right. All right, so Croc's now back at the table and also
Croc's you think one of us would have gotten him by now.
So let's see. So then, all right, so this leads to the debate.
Start bickering, I came the closest. Are you kidding? I was the one who nobody came closer to stuff the Batman than me.
I love how incensed Two-Face gets to. Anyways, then Joker breaks the
Yeah,
tension.
yeah.
He whistles and he says, "The fact of the matter is, we each have an almost Gotham Batman story. I know mine's
Oh,
the best.
I'm sorry.
Let's
I'm
hear
sorry. Just
yours."
pause. The fact of the matter is, we've each got an almost got him Batman story. Dragon, that right there, it's such a good tone setter, man. It's such a great thesis. It's like, all right. Like, this is such a wonderful episode concept.
And this is Dini writing to a T. Dini's all about like the calling out, yeah, we're telling a story, but having a character call you out on it.
Totally, absolutely, and I love it. It works so well.
And of course, of all characters, being the Joker, who he kind of perfected this year. Anyway, so I love the self confidence that Mark Hamill's exuding as the Joker in this episode.
Yeah,
I know mine's the best.
absolutely.
But let's hear yours anyway. So again, much like he is the closest to Batman of any of the rogues. So by that delineation, he's the one like he knows. You think Joker's going to have the big reveal of the episode that he has the best story. He knows about the whole episode. Of course, Batman's going to one up it later.
Ladies first, but since we don't have any, we'll start with you, Pam.
And again, we continue to build the track that we had with Joker's Wild, where again, Joker and Poison Ivy don't get along. And again, Dini put that in the play, and we're going to have a big payoff for that by the end of the season with Harley and Ivy. So it's building, man. It's really nicely. Anyway, so I love the steam coming off the tea. This is where we gleam about every little detail in the episode. We're going to try to do that throughout everything, but so the structure is put into place for our vignette, kind of almost got him stories here. So we start with Poison Ivy's, the summarize Ivy stories, the smidge here.
Ivy's, I will say, is probably the weakest out of all of them. Is that fair?
I mean, it's not bad, but you're right.
It's quick. It's not really that creative. It kind of goes by like.
If we're being honest, it's more
style. Memorable.
It's pure like a stylistic one, to be honest. The rest of them have a little bit more content to them. But again, that's the point. It's kind of like where each story progressively gets better. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm just kind of like planting the flag of like, all right, this first one is like, it's a decent story, but it's not a great story. But it's not meant to be.
I'm gonna get a really deep cut on you here. Okay.
Oh dear. Okay.
Okay. So they released like
Dragon.
They released like an audio cassette, like read along thing for this story, and the one that didn't make the cut was the Poison Ivy story.
Oh wow! Okay, there you go.
Again, not a knock against the episode, and if you look at it that way, you get a little something extra if you watch the episode. But again, the true story beats within the adaptation. Anyway,
sure.
So big here. I'm going to shout out the board artist on this one, Andy Gaskell.
Okay.
Now, Andy Gaskell, you might be interested by this guy because he went on to work with Disney on a number of really good projects in the story, and I believe some of the writing department and some of these as well. So he worked on a Goofy movie.
Oh yeah.
Worked on the original Lion King.
That's a big one for me.
Did the original Lion King.
Emperor's
New Groove.
That's also a big one for me.
Hercules and Treasure Planet. Mind you, he worked on different departments in some of these, but the point being, like this, he
sure.
Really good
that's
stuff.
A pretty good resume for Disney.
Excellent.
Definitely an eclectic mix of movies there.
And again, this segment does look really good. It does. Again, aesthetically.
It does totally.
Originally, this was actually had a different setting, into which may be another reason they left it out. Some other stuff. Maybe it's a reason to get as much love as originally. It was Paul Dini pitched this as Christmas time. It was supposed to be Ivy burning Christmas trees.
But that would have been memorable, Dragon.
The problem is, BS&P would not allow you to burn a Christmas tree on Saturday morning television.
I mean, understandable, but still the imagery of Ivy burning Christmas trees, that would stick with you.
Would. Anyway, so what we do have is still kind of neat, though. So it's Halloween, which, of course, is a big thing, given the long Halloween of it all with Batman.
Oh, God.
Which, again, animated series predates Long Halloween. Little fun fact.
Sure.
So Ivy, she rigged a bunch of pumpkins to blow and essentially spread poison ivy gas that would kind of cause Gotham to be scratching for days, for weeks, probably. Very unhealthy, So I love the pretty poison theme. I love how we bring back like the little chime, like the creepy little poison ivy theme from the episode. So we have great mood light. I love all the lighting and everything. This scene, she's wearing like the little black slip instead of like her green outfit. Everything just looks great in this scene. So she basically Batman comes into the fray, and then she drops a pumpkin that explodes and kind of like throws him off with the kind of poison gas. She attempts to unmask him, because it's past midnight, darling, time to unmask. And Batman just knocks her, like bam, just knocks her back. The lights fall and kind of sets the whole place ablaze. The giant wafts of fire behind him too, which again, really good. Looks really good. So like these corn, the corn that's kind of set up around the place, and more bombs are going off. Basically, Batman's walking through a minefield of poison gas.
Yeah, it is pretty intense.
Ivy walks up to him and gloats about, and this is going to be an important thing to know about Ivy, Tiki. I think I already kind of told you about it, like when we did Pretty Poison, but important thing with Ivy as she gloats here. Oh, it's, you know me, I'm immune to toxins and gases and the pain and suffering of others. Again, her, while still human, is immune to plants and toxins and stuff, which again, she's becoming more plant-like as we go throughout the grandeur of the series. So that's kind of
yeah. Cool kind of transition there for sure.
All right, so
Batman Dragon, he summons the Batmobile.
Yes.
And the Batmobile right into a pole. Ivy climbs up the pole, but the Batmobile runs through, and thus, what happens, Dragon?
Well, thus she falls right into the pumpkins, and I love the lighting as I love the sound design and everything. You hear like the engine of the Batmobile going. I love the Batmobile's only one scene in the episode, but we kind of made it look as great as we can, as it's like giving her chase, and then she falls. Batman grabs the gas mask, kind of collects his bearings, probably does a little bit of an antitoxin afterwards. I don't know. So he kind of walks up to her and basically, she's. And then we just cut back to that's how I almost got him, and then Joker is just scoffing, exploding pumpkins. Ivy says, "You think you can do better?" And says, "Oh, I can, I will, but I'm saving mine for last."
I love this for the Joker. That's so appropriate.
Which then brings us to one of the MVP stories of the whole piece here. The big.
This is my personal favorite story, Dragon. I'm sure you're not that surprised when I say that.
I think it's everyone's personal favorite. Tiki, people love this.
Yeah. I mean, just come on. Batman strapped to a giant penny, Two-Face, the death trap of it all, the Harvey Dent connection. This is awesome.
Okay, so now we have the Two-Face story. I love the transition with he's flipping a poker chip to kind of ante up, and then we kind of transition from that. And again, given what the whole story, it's a little tease of what the whole story is going to be as he flips that chip in there. Transition to Two-Face, the Two-Face story. Basically, he's at the Gotham Mint. He robbed the Mint of $2 million. Okay, this is great. This is beautiful as Two-Face to a T. He robbed the Gotham Mint of $2 million in $2 bills with the 2-ton gang. I sense a theme. So, by the way, Gary Graham boarded this one. Did it really well, too. Okay. So Batman's been caught. Basically, he got the bad side of the coin here, which means he's going to be thrown into a death trap. They take Batman's belt. Batman, he lunges at Two-Face for a bit, but then he's knocked out. Remember, he lunged at Two-Face. That's important. He lunged at Two-Face.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Gets knocked out. Not so tough without your toys. And then Two-Face laughs it up. Really, Richard Mille is a creepy laugh now. And Two-Face just kind of laughing it up as we kind of cut the commercial and then cut back. So Two-Face, by the way, there are a lot of really great subtle gags too. Two-Face's hand in the cards, because earlier Joker was cheating. I forgot to mention that Joker was cheating at cards. It has like an ace up his sleeve, which is really funny. And also Two-Face, every time we see Two-Face's hands, he has like 2 face cards and a pair of 2s. So again, we keep the Two-Face kind of.
Oh, nice! I didn't even notice that. I definitely noticed the ace up Joker's sleeve, but I did not notice the 2s for Two-Face. That's clever.
It's really clever. Okay, so Batman awakens, and in the Mint, he is strapped to a giant penny. Of course, the giant penny in the Batcave.
I love it so much, Draken. I love it so much.
So here we are given the famous origin for the giant penny that is in the Batcave.
Yep.
So he gives Batman. I love the writing on this so much. So he gave Batman a 50-50 chance with the famous giant penny death trap. Which here's the giant penny is an adaptation from the comic. Now, I'm sure your nitty-gritty fans are going to say it's the Penny Plunder, but no one cares about that. They rewrote it because they knew it was better with Two-Face, okay? The point being, the original story is that Batman and Robin were strapped to a giant penny, and it was a little bit more ridiculous how they got out of it. They used their belts, like kind of 66 Batman style, to basically magnetize it so they didn't land face down, so they landed on their backs. But that doesn't matter. What matters is this episode was so good, they kind of changed it going forward. And importantly, when we do something like Batman versus Two-Face, the animated movie with Adam West, it's very much inspired by this. So now that you've seen that, now you've seen this, you see the origin point for like the even better, giant penny death trap when we did it there in the 60s animated.
Yeah.
Point being, the writing's great. So if the coin lands face down, Batman's squashed. He's squashed flat and he's dead. If it lands face up, though, it'll just break every bone in his body. I love it's brilliant writing. I love it. Batman's screwed either way, but that's what I'm saying. The writing's a lot better on this than it was in the original story, where it's like, it's pretty much Ian Robin or Garner. It's very impractical how they get out of there. Here, much better, and it's a buy. It's an awesome buy, though.
Sure.
So basically, Batman, it looks like he's a goner. He's about to be flipped for it. The forklift with all this gold bullion is about to be dropped. Is about to be dropped to make the coin go up. But Two-Face is he's just going to kind of flip his coin just because for the heck of it. Goes for his coin, but he can't find it. Can't find his coin, which leads to this awesome discovery. Like my coin, I can't find my. Oh no! And then
I love that, by the way. I love the voice acting on that. But oh no!
And then we reveal Batman took the coin, which for the story purposes of this, and maybe I think the idea.
It's a we don't care. It's a we don't care. It's a total we don't care.
I know, and I love it though. Is the fact that Two-Face maybe just like carved the coin up so he could find it if he ever loses it like easier. I think it's solid logic. Anyway, he basically now Batman's carving through the rope with the coin, which is awesome.
Oh my god!
So Two-Face seeing this, he quickly launches the coin like midair, like launch it now. He launches it midair.
I love how just frantic Two-Face is. He's just so desperate for this plan to work.
Because he does almost have him here. I think second to the Joker, I think he got the closest personally. That's my thing. So Batman midair. I love that midair he breaks through. Now again, Tika, this is an absolute we don't care. Like it's not the coin. The coin thing doesn't mean you can rationale the coin. It's fine. Here's the actual we don't care. There is as perfect as this episode is. There is one legit flaw. One legit animation flaw. But it doesn't matter. The belt. In overseas, there's a consistency issue where sometimes they keep the characters on model, like what they have reference models, so they make sure the character looks like what he's supposed to look like all the time. Batman lost the belt was taken off Batman, so he had no way to get out of the trap. He has the belt.
Right.
When he flips, he has basically when he lands on the thing, but when he basically knocks Two-Face off after he breaks free and he basically he kicks Two-Face off the forklift. He has the belt back when he shouldn't. But again, it's so awesome. Who cares?
I hear you, man. I hear you.
That's like the one flaw, though.
I didn't even notice it, Dragon. I didn't notice it.
Right. Anyway, so he kicks Two-Face right into like a giant, like all these sacks of coins that are just like spurting all over the ground. Two-Face covered in his folly, which is great. So the coin that has been launched, by the way, it then lands like, ouch! It's such a harsh way on the henchman. Like, bam! Those guys are taken out. And then Batman uses the forklift to lift the other half of the 2-ton gang up. Batman in awesome silhouette, he goes over the Two-Face, and what does he say?
Here, I owe you $1.
Flips the coin, then we transition back to Two-Face saying, I almost got him. if it weren't for this blasted coin. See, that line, I think, is so perfect in crystallizing Two-Face and the fact that, again, he knows if he didn't have this stupid coin, he would have got Batman, but he knows, he doesn't say, logically, I then got rid of the coin. He has to keep the coin. He has to. And it's that's what got him. So I love, literally, Two-Face's whole obsession is what was his undoing at the end. That's perfect storytelling, man!
Gee, too bad, huh? But I guess you'll always come in second.
So of course, as Joker's doing this, as he's dabbing his eyes, he's looking at Two-Face's cards cheating, which is great.
Oh god, and here comes the big laugh of the episode, Dragon, and once you realize the Killer Croc twist, it's even more funny. Take him through it, Dragon, take him through it.
Okay. So after Joker
It's beautiful!
After Joker exposits his sympathy, says, does anyone else want... I love this Mark Hamill delivery, by the way. Does anyone else want to go? And then just Killer Croc, we just have a zoom in of between Ivy's face and this foreground shot. It's Croc smashes his fist. Me! There I was, pulled up in a quarry with Batman, and he got closer and closer, and obviously going Angela, how participatory she's being right here. And I threw a rock at him.
Threw a rock at him.
Dead silence, and then we just pan to the other four people at the table, and we just we just pan at the other four people, like left to right, from I think like from Penguin to all the way from Penguin to Ivy. We just even the Joker, just like stone face the Joker's not even laughing at that Croc's idiocy in this moment here, just like this disappointed look of like, really, man. We had a great flow. We had the Two-Face story, and then you just threw a rock. It's like this awesome fourth wall joke. And anyway, it gets even better. So then Ivy just tries to kind of fill the silence by asking. So I love the delivery on Diane Pershing here. It just says, so Harvey, what became of the giant penny? And then we just have this intercut of sad Killer Croc. Oh, it was a big rock. Which again, historical on the rewatch and knowing what we know, given who that is. It was a big rock. Someone has a sense of humor.
Sure.
And I love how confounded Two-Face. They let him keep it. They let him keep it. They let him keep the symbol of a huge victory over Two-Face. That's awesome.
Oh god.
So then it's Penguin's. Now it's Penguin's. I love how they're kind of picking it here. Penguin's dealing the cards now. Therefore, he's telling the story now. So it's up to the Penguin next. So
sure.
Again, I love Paul Williams' refinement in the role. It's kind of like It's almost like he has a 60s in the writing in this episode. It's very 60s Batman in the alliteration. He's very alliterative in this episode. Would you care to walk him through it, or should I?
Yeah, I got it. He basically says, "I find your middling machinations mildly diverting. But for sheer criminal genius, none surpass my most recent
ornithological-inspired entoilment.
Entoilment. These words, I'm sorry, Trickin.
Basically, you're going to kill it.
You're losing Croc, and you're also losing...
And again, just Croc to a T here, knowing what we know.
Croc's just like,
Smaller words, please. You're losing Croc. Okay, so then Penguin. We go to the Penguin's aviary of doom. More on the line. More of the title of that later. But right now we're on the Penguin story. So essentially, Penguin for weeks. Penguin's been spreading the word through the criminal underworld. Which again, we're setting up. Penguin does have criminal connects. Which as we go further and further, it'll be like kind of Penguin as we see him in like Gotham, like Penguin with the criminal, the arms dealer, the underworld, all that sort of stuff. Like Penguin, the nightclub owner, we're not there quite yet with the Penguin. He's not a nightclub owner yet, you know? But he's building it. So Penguin's spreading the word that he's going to steal a pair of rare breeding condors from the Gotham Zoo. Yet again, Tiki, we go to the Gotham Zoo. This is like the fourth time we've gone to the Gotham Zoo. Do you realize that?
Okay, recap it.
Okay, on leather wings, because apparently Kirk Langstrom, they're part of the zoology department of the Gotham Zoo. First episode of Gotham Zoo. Let's see, Tiger starts at the Gotham Zoo.
Yeah.
Let's see, Moon of the Wolf, Gotham Zoo, and Terror in the Sky. When we revisit our leather wings.
Oh, you're right. A lot of Gotham Zoo.
Fourth time we've gone to the Gotham Zoo, but here though it's played a great deal better. All right, so let's see. So so Batman shows up. Penguin is like really good shot composition. The Penguin he's like torching the lock with the umbrella. I love the multi-purse umbrella. Batman appears. He's doused with a red gas, and Penguin again geniusly he writes this off as, "Oh, I would bring the wrong umbrella," which he runs into. You think Batman is Penguin on the ropes. He runs into the aviary section, into the atrium where. He's in pursuit. We have the money shot of Batman here in silhouette. All these silhouette shots of Batman are so fantastic. There are 3 silhouette shots of Batman. They're all beautiful. So let's see. So then we reveal that Batman's walked into a trap with Penguin in the control booth, basically with the soothing tomes of Paul Williams, just kind of like basically narrating Batman's demise here. So then he walked into my aviary.
You'll end within my aviary of doom. And then Poison Ivy's just like, aviary of what?
Jeez, Penguin, how corny can you get?
How corny can you get?
Nah. Have you no poetry in your souls? No.
All right, so continuing on. Anyway, there he was in my big bird house.
I love how self-conscious he gets there. Just No drama in your soul, but you know what? Okay, maybe you're right. My big birdhouse.
All right, Dragon, I gotta say, this hummingbird bit, pretty scary, man. Pretty scary.
I really wonder if naturally if there was like a breed of hummingbirds that have poison tips, or if it's like so psychotic that the penguin had to have like all the hummingbirds individually. He had like a poison dish or something.
Has the Joker individually poison their tips?
That's the thing. You got to wonder, like, if yeah, I think he's supposed to be individually. That's creepy. Okay, so the point being, Penguin again. The signature here being the bird theme, obviously, which we're doing within his death traps here. So all the hummingbirds are released, and they dose Batman with kind of with the poison nectar, as it were, and basically Penguin walks him through wonderfully. Again, I love Penguin as the narrator. It's like, what if you took March of the Penguins and made it demented?
Sure.
So basically, the poison tip beaks. He sprayed Batman with the nectar, and now the poison tip beaks are going to be trying to get that nectar. And basically, one scratch will slow Batman a little bit. 3 or 4, he'll begin to get drowsy more. And then Paul Williams has a wonderful delivery here. He says, "Well, I wish I could say it was nice knowing you." So Batman throws a batarang very cleverly at a sprinkler system, which basically grounds the birds, which saves his skin really good. And then Penguin's accounted for this, though.
Mm-hmm.
So before Batman can use a poison antidote from the injector from his belt, he faces a cassowary. A cassowary. Basically, Paul Dini does his research, man. Almost like Scott Snyder, Paul Dini does his research, and he found basically kind of a super ostrich, if you will, kind of a super ostrich bird. This is like an actual bird.
Yeah.
Scratches the crap out of Batman. Very rare.
By the way, can I just say the design of this bird is terrifying?
It is.
Dragon, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go into Tiki's childhood trauma. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Dragon, previously on Tiki's childhood trauma, would have been some of the highlights.
Let's see. Giant carnivorous plants, which we've seen on Batman, by the way.
Yep. Can you think of anything else that's naturally been brought up?
Aren't you afraid of bats?
Yes, I was afraid of bats. That's one thing.
Which,
yes.
Again, given some of our subject matter here, again, I gotta tell you, I'm kind of now realizing, man, Batman's really terrified you. All right, so carnivorous plants, bats. I assume you and I share bees as a kind of a fear area.
I hate bees. I can't stand bees.
I'm petrified by them. So again, I think that's all. Let's just unless you got anything major.
Well, I mean, the major one to add to the list, Dragon, is big birds.
Well, obviously not.
Well, obviously, Big Bird. Yes, I love Big Bird. But big birds, I do not love, Dragon.
With 2 exceptions, Big Bird's terrify, with the exception of Kevin and Big Bird.
Yeah, for sure. Dragon, what do you think? Are you on the same page? Are you, I don't know, it's just how easily they could just, like, peck your eyes out.
If they're like an ostrich, yeah, sure. I mean, who isn't afraid of an ostrich? Let's be honest.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm, like, or like a big pelican, even.
Yeah.
I don't know. And with this bird, just it being so adversarial, it does kind of get under my skin a little bit, Dragon, in a fun way.
Speaking of getting under the skin, so Batman gets scratched by this thing, and also rare instance in the animated series, Batman bleeds.
Oh man!
again, because it's by some weird exotic bird, I guess they got away with it. So rarely, again, you have to wait till Phantasm to get away with like Batman bleeding, really. But this is like it's a big deal.
Uh-huh.
Right, so let's see. So Batman, he what he does to get out of this death trap. It seems like Batman's a goner. He's kind of he's been made drowsy. He's about to, he seems like he's a goner, but he basically. He grabs a downed hummingbird that has a poison tip beak, and he jabs the thing a few times. Very clever in a bind. The bird goes the other way. Penguin, meanwhile, much like that bird, flies the coop using his umbrella. He used the copter umbrella to escape. And basically, that's how the idea. And this is even greater in the narrative, Tiki. Each villain has a story basically closer and closer to the poker game.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is the Penguin escaped from this thing, and then he eventually he escaped this. Like Two-Face's thing could have obviously Two-Face. Basically, Ivy was captured, so was Two-Face. This is like after they'd probably been to Arkham and escaped from Arkham in the interim. Penguin, though, he could have gotten away from that, and this is probably like a few weeks ago. Now he's at the poker game. Joker, as we're going to learn, is yesterday. So like how we're getting closer and closer in the narrative. All right.
All right.
So Joker reminds, so Joker scoffs at the Penguin here, says, I'll remind you, there's all sorts of ways to get someone. Take my latest for example, my latest run with Batman, for example. Last night, so basically, he brings out this little portable black and white television. I love how he expected to show off this poker game, so he brought the preloaded tape and everything for this. It's just great. He took the recording of his own show.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, classic Joker writing here. Joker hijacked, basically, kind of a combination of the Tonight Show meets the Letterman Show, with basically Gotham, with late night Gotham Live with Harley Quinn as his Ed McMahon figure, which is great. And again, black and white. Oh my goodness, doesn't the black and white look beautiful in this segment?
It does.
Again, I love all the old kind of live, the variety, the old TV show stuff, the old talk show thing. Joker on a talk show, as we know, especially now for any of the general audience, it can be pretty scary when Joker.
Say the least, yeah.
So we have curtain shenanigans where he's basically messing around with the curtains. He's popping out there. It's just,
oh God.
Henchmen are pointing their guns at a live audience, which, by the way, BSMP did have a note where basically you don't see the live audience. You only see like
Dragon, can I mention something about that to you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Do you think they're pointing the guns at the audience to get them to laugh more, or is it just like a general intimidation thing?
Well, I think it's to keep them all there because we need them in there later so they can be tortured by the laughter.
Okay.
Well, basically, because they need them to laugh, so we need them to be there so we pump the thing full of gas. Anyway. So let's see. So, of course, Joker here I love Joker as an opening monologue as he's hijacked the talk show. Joker here, living proof. You don't have to be crazy to host this show, but it helps. It's great, just Mark Hamill. So much. Stellar Joker. By the way, stellar animation on the Joker too. Compare this to a Joker's Wild. Great Joker premise, but again, animation very much lacking. This episode, complete opposite. The animation is stellar on the Joker. One of the best looking Joker episodes you'll honestly find. So Joker sits at the desk and he basically says, "So, hey kids, you won't believe the guest I ran into while I was making withdrawal from the bank. Some may refer to him as the Dark Knight, but we refer to him as history." Then we reveal Batman essentially in the laugh meter death trap. Basically, he's strapped to an electric chair that is powered by audience laughter, which, given the setup, is not going to be good for Batman. So I love the commercial break. We come back from commercial break, and very much like the TV shows of then, we have the more to come banner, like very much in the old version of the Carson show. Again, more to come with a John Small. Brilliant, I love it. So let's see. You take us through some of this.
Okay, let me see. Let me get on point here. So basically, Joker introduces. This is where he introduces his special guest, Dragon.
Yes.
Okay, and his special guest is none other than Batman. Except Batman is in a rather precarious situation. We see he's tied to an electric chair that is rigged to a device that Joker has made in fashion that just simply reads Laugh-O-Meter with a target in the center of it. What could this mean? What scandalous deeds is the Cloud Prince of Crime up to, I ask?
Yes.
So Dragon, this is essentially Monsters Inc. Laugh lore. Except they're killing Batman.
Yes, but deadlier, yes.
Joker has found a way to weaponize Monsters Inc. laugh lore against Batman.
I love the small. I love it. Again, this is where the music comes into play. And the score is so good here. I love the talk show. Basically, remember this. If you isolate the score on this, you have all these talk show themes that they wrote. It's just great. Where we have he small talks this. Totally,
it's great. It's great.
As he walks over to the Batman and says, "So, how's Robin?" Which, bear in mind, the animated series didn't go this far, but imagine if this were like a comics Batman.
In context, Dragon, with the entire Batman lore, that line is chilling.
It is. How's Robin? And of course, then we have the sell of the chair right now, where he basically sells the chair to the audience as if it were like a prop you could buy, as if it were QVC. even the merest titter or guffaw even the merest Tirgafall for gets the revving up towards maximum zappage. I love how his eyes are like rolling around like oh, it looks great. So then Harley Quinn demonstrates, Harley, give it a whirl. She goes, ha ha. Which leads to some scary, realistic electric chair, like basically tortures Batman's. Like you can see his neck like being like thrown back, like he's being utterly tortured by the electric chair. And then now the audience is being pumped full of laughing gas. So basically, as they're laughing, and this is why you can't see the audience, by the way, because they didn't want the audience to be like in pain laughing, because that would have scared the kids off. That's why they're obscured. So basically, as they laugh, Batman's in for a world of hurt, especially as Harley Quinn's. And now they'll laugh at anything that is said, essentially. So now Harley Quinn.
I love this so much, Dragon. This is so basically Joker's like, they're gassed up so much they'll even laugh at the phone book. So Harley, man, Dragon, this is honestly, for my money, one of the best. Like, I'll even read the phone book, or that actor's so good you can read the phone book. This is one of the best phone book gags, Dragon. So Harley gets a microphone. She has the phone book. She flipped through it. Marvin Abbott, 555-8976.
Joker's roasting weenies. Batman's charred corpse. He's going to roast weenies with Batman's charred corpse. It's essentially what it's doing, which is creepy, but it's awesome.
Gerald Adams, 555-9011. By the way, I apologize for my Arlene Sorkin.
All right, so anyway, basically, as Harley's reading these names, she is then interrupted as basically the phone book is ripped out of her arms by a whip.
Joker's just like coaxing the laughter out of the guests as the phone book's being read, like, yeah, keep it coming, keep it coming.
Of course, the applause sign, everything, just oh yeah. So Catwoman interjects here. She comes in to save the day, which leads to kind of attack on basically she really slams into the Harley and Joker's like thrown out of frame, basically throws them both like into the set, like breaks the talk show set, which is awesome. By the way, I love the bits earlier. We had like when they came back from commercial, Joker was at his desk, just like like cutting like little smiley face Batman into like a little like chain or something.
Sure, yeah.
One thing that's important is like she throws him into the set. Set completely comes apart. She swings a light fixture into the goons, which is awesome. Let's see, Batman very smartly here. While he's being tortured by all the laughter, as he's being electrocuted, Batman uses the skewer that's being used on for the roast of weenies. He basically uses it to kind of pick the lock so he can get out of the chair at the last second. Catwoman saying "show's over, Joker," and I love the Joker even while he's defeated. Catwoman, everybody, let's hear it for it. Again, giving like the coax, like more laughter, and again, it's one part Joker the showman. It's like even though Catwoman's foiling my plans right now, let's hear it for her. But the other half, though, attempting to kill Batman while he's still in the chair, while he can, So he almost got him. Batman, he gets away at the very last second. And so that's how you almost got him. But that's the best part. Once the chair went up, the Catwoman still pursued, and then we then transitioned from the end of the footage is Batman getting out of the chair. So now Joker is telling a story, which is still in black and white, just for the sheer awesome factor. So we see the backstage footage that was not captured on VHS as Joker is basically he's trying to leave backstage. Catwoman, she wraps the whip around his legs and basically bam, kind of timbers him right there, like bam, leg squeeze him. He falls right on the chin, man. Ouch. But then Joker has an ace up his sleeve, as he mentions, which we reveal Harley Quinn. This is a big moment for Harley Quinn, by the way. We reveal Harley Quinn with this boxing glove on the end of her pop gun. Tika, this is the first appearance of the pop gun.
Yeah. No, I caught that. Yeah, very cool.
Now, the origin of the pop gun, Eric Radomski went overseas, presumably with the animators and everything, and he brought Bruce Timm a gift. He brought him an actual pop gun, which they loved so much, especially Paul Dini. He was so jealous of the pop gun that he wanted it. He put it in the episode, and he gave it to Harley Quinn. That's why he keeps coming back.
Nice.
The real-life pop gun does actually shoot like confetti and stuff out of the I'm sorry, I feel silly. I just realized something. Sorry, I'm going to redact. This is not the first appearance of the pop gun. We saw the pop gun laughing fish. Forget what I just said. But this is yet another appearance of the pop gun.
My bad. Okay.
That's my bad. Sorry about that. Regardless, pop gun returns and is going to continue to return. Paul Dini loves the pop gun. That's the big takeaway there. Anyway.
All right. Back on point.
So speaking of aces, back to the game, Tiki. What happens?
Right. So Catwoman had an ace up her sleeve.
Which Joker had an ace up his sleeve, and that's Harley
I'm sorry.
Quinn.
Yeah, Joker had an ace up his sleeve with the punch. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Harley Quinn knocking out Catwoman. Then we reveal back to the game where we're speaking of aces. Joker won the whole pot, won the whole game, and he won not only the story segment of the whole thing, but he also won the game with the ace up his sleeve.
And he does have Catwoman in captivity. That's what we've learned.
Yes, and Croc is asking, "So you just left her there?" And this. And then basically we have this bit where oh god, Joker's has a sadistic plot here. The way he's like the best way to get somebody is like, again he's getting someone in different ways here. Where basically he's going to send Batman a case of cat food. Catwoman's being held at Pussykins pet food factory, and tomorrow morning Joker's going to send a case of cat food to Batman. He's laughing it up. Anyways, then we have the bigger reveal. Tegan, what is the bigger reveal? So what happens after this
reveal, of course, is that oh boy, Killer Croc is not who he says he is, and no, he's not Clayface. He's Batman.
He stands up, says, "I don't think so." Killer Croc with Batman's voice is like, "I don't think so." He tosses Joker.
The shot of like the mask with the eyes. You know what I mean? Like the bat eyes under the Croc mask. I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
You mean the light picture shot, right?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you something about that. Okay, so real quick, so after of course Ben says, "I don't think so," he tosses Joker across the table here, like into another table. We reveal some other people in the background. Again, we're slowly but surely revealing people in the background with the light fixture moving back and forth. Joker says,
"Gordon Bullock for one."
Well, once it, so like Joker said, like, "Was it something I said?" Then we have the light fixture money shot of the third silhouette shot of Batman, where basically it makes no sense, but it's purely artistic and it's awesome. Where we see Batman. The light fixture goes up and it goes down. We see the silhouette of Batman. That's a Glenn Murakami shot. Glenn Murakami, one of the big guys behind Batman Beyond. His early work on Batman. He boarded that whole reveal of Batman sequence, and he came up with that shot. So then the rogues all pull their guns on Batman. It looks like, okay, well, basically their guns, umbrellas, and crossbows. Batman on Croc Batman, if you will. Do anything to save your kitten, eh? Batman's like, it's gone. You're not getting out of this one. Batman then, as Croc snaps his fingers, and we reveal out of the shadows, everyone drawing guns and everything on him, including Gordon Bullock, and reveal, as Batman says, that they're all surrounded. This great circle shot of every villain on their feet surrounded and basically have the force to surrender. Batman reveals, "But I'm not so bad with traps myself." Which is so great that Batman, having been put through death trap after death trap in all of these stories, has his own trap for the bad guys. And what's really genius,
man, I made it my own goddamn souvenir.
The Batman it's been all part of this elaborate sting operation. When you think about it, Tiki, rewatch the episode, you realize Killer Croc was the one who started the almost got him story. If you think about it,
yes, absolutely.
He was the one who said, like, basically how it's amazing none of us had got him at this point. Batman, knowing this would spark the Joker's ego, and he would say what happened. He basically that's the end point. That's genius. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So now Batman has a location to save Catwoman, which has been the big goal of the whole episode. So we go to the Pussykins pet food factory. So we have Harley and Catwoman. What's happening?
Yeah, we have Harley and Catwoman, and God, sorry, Dragon, I'm kind of struggling to keep up with this. Harley's got Catwoman on this conveyor belt. This is kind of like a Brave Little Toaster moment, almost. Wouldn't you agree?
I would absolutely agree. So Catwoman's just tied up, helpless on this conveyor belt, and I love Harley. Arlene Sorkin was so perfect here with the dialogue here, where she's like, "Oh yeah, I had a kitty once. It's not true what they say. They don't always land on their feet," which is so perfect.
I love how ambiguously morbid that is.
And again, it fits so well with this version of Catwoman, who's very much an animal lover. So it's just this perfect thing. That's a perfect Harley line. I mean, this is why we get Harley Quinn created to be what she is now, like with lines like this,
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, Dragon, but the machine that Catwoman is strapped up to is going to make cat food, right?
Out of her, yes. And again, we'll be put into containers, which will then basically, the idea is that when Joker came back, she was going to pull the lever, she was going to be eternally cat food. And again, Joker will probably send this to the GCPD rooftop for Batman. That's essentially what the plan is. And I love, by the way, mentioning it too. I love when Joker revealed this and was laughing it up about his big plan before Killer Croc threw him across the room. All the rogues were they were a little terrified by this too. I love that's going even far for them. I love that.
Right.
Not anymore in television, we were able to do that. Okay, so basically, she's saying like, "Oh, look on the bright side. You'll feed hundreds of cats." So Batman then descends. He enters and says, take another step closer and say ciao to your girlfriend. Cat chow, that is. Just Arlen Sorkin being wonderful here. So she uses this as insurance to escape, says you have to pick. Basically, it'll come down to saving me or your kitten. As Batman goes after her, you only have time to save one. You only have time for one. So then Batman, being Batman, of course.
Everybody only gets one dragon.
Yes. Batman being who he is, wonderfully, he knows he's already scoped out the factory when he snuck in the place. He recognizes like the power switch. Basically, he just he has Harley in one hand, Catwoman's about to be turning the cat food. He just extends his arm to the right, turns the lever off, shuts the power off, and she's saved by like the last second. And Harley's like, I guess you can. Oof! And basically, she's like, "Help!" And of course, it's like she's knocked out off screen. Then we have the kind of the end, the big, beautiful ending here.
Oh man, this is great. This is great. First of all, I just want to acknowledge just how close Catwoman comes to those blades. Man, it's a photo finish.
Yes. So as Harley's being led away.
Yeah, go ahead.
Harley's being led away. We go to the rooftop. Some really great cape animation on Batman, too. Again, Dong Yang, one of their finest episodes, no question. So we have Batman and Catwoman on the rooftop. Backlit by the moon. And, of course, Batman owed Catwoman and says, I like to think our relationship isn't just restricted to us saving each other from freaks and weirdos.
Oh, yeah.
I love how she's like dragging her finger across the bat symbol again, very symbolic, one might call it. So I like to think there's a place for us, without capes, without freaks and masks, basically without Gotham, without freaks, without mask, maybe. Batman's response.
And then it gets to Batman. You can tell it gets to Batman a little bit, just under the mask animation. You're just like Batman's like, yeah, maybe.
We hear like a siren or something, basically as Harley's being taken away. Catwoman like looked away for a second, and then, of course, if you've ever met Batman, you never want to look away. You never do. And then we have a bat exit, but a lovely bat exit. Here's Batman, like he kind of grapples away, but again, unseen. She turns around, he grapples away, and of course the money line. Tiki hit him with the money line.
Almost got him.
Just with the Catwoman theme mixed into the main theme. Really, yes.
I mean, Dragon, let's not even beat around the bush here. This is a masterpiece. I would say this is maybe one of the high watermarks of 90s cartoon animation in general. Yada, yada, yada. You've heard it all before. It's probably my favorite episode. I hate to be cliche, but what are you going to do? It's just that good. The vignettes are perfectly timed out. We get just a great amount of, like, the variety is there. Of course, we have that kind of, like, Inception style, plot within a plot going on with Batman and Catwoman and the Killer Croc reveal. Perfection, Dragon. It's just perfection. Like I said earlier, it's the chef's kiss of Batman episodes.
But is it better than Perchance for you?
For me, yeah, I would say it's more rewatchable than Perchance.
Okay, so for
Perchance is great. Don't get me wrong.
That it is, absolutely. Again, it's basically, Tiki, soon you're going to be in the position, once we finish season 2, you're going to be in a position, you're going to have like an embarrassment of riches, like the best Batman episodes.
Oh, man.
All right. So for me, my final thoughts, this again, this is top tier Batman the animated series to a T. It's Dini with the genius pitch, the iconic rogues, a teaming of the iconic rogues. The episode complements the style of the show so well, probably possibly definitively so. Again, like the best representation of what the series is could be this episode. There's you get a lot of story bang for your buck with this episode. You get essentially 5 stories for the price of one, which is kind of genius. It's not only fun, but again, most of these stories, they reflect, the facets of the famous Batman rogues. Again, I cite to the Two-Face story in particular. This is one of the all-time greats, an example that sometimes, if you tell a story just right, Batman doesn't even need to be in the episode, or more accurately, need to be its focus for it to be iconic. You know, it's something special, something magical about the episode.
All right. So, Dragon, give us some Dozier. Take us out.
A rogue rehabilitation, high hopes for high society, a night at the opera. Is love in the air, or is tragedy about to fall on a flightless bird? And the Batman. Tune in and find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Birds of a Feather. I threw a rock at him.
Almost